Okay, if I could have everybody's attention. Hopefully you've all gotten some breakfast. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Suzanne Schriar. I'm the Associate Director for Library Automation and Technology, and I'm also the Principal Investigator on the Targeting Autism IMLS Laura Bush 21st Century Librarian Program Grant. It's a mouthful. We at the Illinois State Library are very excited to be hosting the 3rd Annual Targeting Autism Stakeholder Forum. The purpose of these forums is to help libraries become more inclusive through educating and promoting greater acceptance and support for the large population of individuals with autism and their family members. I would like to thank the Institute for Museum and Library Services, the Illinois State Library and State Librarian Jesse White, and the Illinois State Library for their recognition and continued support for this important work. Now I have the very exciting, welcoming task of telling you where the bathrooms are. They are on either side of the elevators. The women's closest to the stage and the men's on the other side, and those bathrooms are in the same place on every floor. There are people roaming around here who have lanyards that say, "How may I help you?" If you don't make your needs too intense, they should be able to give you any sort of directional information. If you need a photocopier, you need online access, or whatever you need, find one of them, or find Mary and I at the front table also have these signs on, so just don't hesitate to get help from us. If anybody would like to tweet during this forum, we do have a Twitter handle, and that is a # 2017 Targeting Autism with an uppercase T and an uppercase A. Got that? # 2017 Targeting Autism. And you can tweet. At this point, I would like to introduce the Targeting Autism board members. And not all of them are here today, but I'm going to name them as well, who aren't here. And I'd like, as I call your name, for you to stand and remain standing until we're done, and then at the end you can applaud. It's a great group of people. And at first I'm doing this alphabetically, not in order of importance, because they're all important. So Russ Bonanno, who is the director of the Autism program of Illinois, TAP, and also a contract employee with the Illinois State Library for this grant, this Laura Bush grant that we have, so thank you, Russ. Nancy Everhart, who couldn't be with us today, is a professor at Florida State University School of Information, autism advocate, and recipient of 2 IMLS awards to help serve library patrons on the spectrum. She was a principal investigator for Project PALS, was the name of her first grant, which stood for Panhandle Autism Library Services. PALS created an online training course, which is available on Web Junction. She's now spearheading Project A+, which is an IMLS-funded research grant project which builds upon Project PALS, aimed at creating strategies for academic libraries to help their users on the autism spectrum. So, too bad Nancy couldn't be with us to hear this long introduction, but she's a valued member on our board. Patty Forster is a former librarian and from Special Education School in Chicago, and a disabilities advocate, and Patty just recently received a doctorate from National Louis University for her research on school libraries, disabilities, and a phenomenological progression to policy change. So congratulations, Patty, and we're glad you're here. Dr. Suzanne Huggins, who could not make it today. She's Associate Professor of Information Studies at Dominican University, and Dr. Huggins is also a partner on this current Targeting Autism grant, and she's developed an in-depth 2-day training course on site to teach librarians throughout the whole entire state of Illinois about autism. It's train the trainer, so she's not training every librarian when I said that, but and that's pretty amazing. And then Barbara Clipper, who also could not be with us today, and Barbara is a retired librarian, consultant, and author of a really amazing book that has been so helpful in libraries with kids and older youth on the spectrum, called Programming for Children and Teens with Autism Spectrum Disorder. It's published in 2014, and by the way, all of the books that the authors have written are on display there, so you can check out a copy of her book. And if you were at the 2015 forum, you got a copy of her book. So. She's also wrote a book about using social media for kids with on the spectrum, called The Secret Rules of Social Networking, which was published in 2015. And she is the generous developer and funder of a library grant program, which she contributed her own money to offer grants to a total of $5,000 to one or more libraries who create programs or adapt an existing program. And that grant program is called Autism Welcome Here, Library Programs, Services, and More. And we're in the second year of that, and that is just a phenomenal thing she's doing. Barbara Clipper. Adria Nassim. Adria could not be here today either. She's an autism advocate and columnist in Bloomington, Indiana for the Bloomington Herald newspaper. And we really miss her. She came to the last two forums but was unable to make it to this one. Mary Pellich is my right appendage and my left appendage and everything. She's autism trainer and consultant with the Targeting Autism Project, and after Suzanne holds her 2-day class, Mary waits a few months, goes out to the libraries and says, do you remember what we talked about? Are you implementing? Because at the end of that class they talk about implementing some sort of service or making some sort of environmental accommodation, and Mary goes out there and makes sure that they're doing what they intend to do, while also training anybody that calls and says, I want training and consultation, and she just is wonderful and does whatever is necessary. It's actually, everybody is wonderful. Deborah Vines, who I don't see, but she is here, but she's not here at the moment. She's founder and executive director of a nonprofit called The Answer, which is dedicated to providing support, resources, education, recreation, and advocacy for families in the greater Chicago area that are impacted by autism and developmental disabilities. And Dan Weiss, who could not be here today. God, this is sounding like eulogies all of a sudden. But we miss him. And he's director of the Fanwood Public Library and co-creator of an award-winning New Jersey project called Libraries and Autism, We're Connected. And they created a video and an online webpage designed to help libraries serve individuals with autism and their families more effectively. They also provide on-site training. And I forgot Ruth Small, who has a huge paragraph in here, so don't give me a hard time. Anyways, we wish Dan could be with us. And Dr. Ruth Small, who is the Laura and J. and L. Douglas Meredith Professor, which I understand is an honor I don't know who these people are, but it's a big deal at Syracuse University. And she's been on the faculty of Syracuse since 1989. She's the founding director of the Center for Digital Literacy of Syracuse University, where her main project has been to develop and administer Project Enable with a team of techie staff. And Project Enable stands for Expanding Non-Discriminatory Access by Librarians Everywhere, and providing training to librarians on ways to provide effective library and information services to students with disabilities. She is a partner in this year's grant as well, and Project Enable is going to be adding, my understanding is a cluster of very exciting training modules in autism that are going to supplement and complement the online and on-site training we do. So, sorry I left you out, but you are one of the key players in this. So, all right, so now you can clap. And now it is my privilege, don't sit down, Russ, you're coming up here. It's my privilege to call on Russ Bonanno, who is going to be our moderator for the duration of the forum. So thank you, Russ.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. No, don't take my papers. We're just a little confused.
It's the gravity.
And do you have my copy of the book too?
I'm so sorry.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm not going to stand behind the podium because then I feel like I'm lecturing at church or something, and I try to avoid doing that as much as possible. Welcome, as Suzanne said. I'm Russ Bonanno, the director of the Autism Program of Illinois. For those who don't know, we're a state-funded collaboration of 4 public university programs and 16 nonprofit agencies that operate centers that include family and community resource rooms and provide a variety of services, direct clinical services, as well as training services and technical assistance across the state. We're lucky enough to be in operation, and the only thing I'll say about that is without a state budget, we won't be in operation starting July 1st. So, with that, there's a few things going on today that Suzanne didn't mention that I want to mention before I introduce our opening keynote. There is federal funding for a project that's also been happening here at the library called Team Spectra. And Team Spectra is a group of library staff that have been awarded an IMLS Sparks grant. Don't ask me what that is. I know what IMLS is, I don't know what Sparks is. To create several autism-focused kits for use by Illinois libraries. Those kits contain multiple technologies, social robots, and a variety of other things that can be used for patrons with diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. They're available to libraries for circulation throughout Illinois once the team has completed their testing. Team Spectra will be here today. I think they're going to be in the back somewhere demonstrating the kits. Oh, sorry, they're going to be on the 2nd floor mezzanine. So you have to go upstairs and find them. And they'll be demonstrating these kits during the breaks. There's a sign-up sheet for libraries who want to be able to beta test the kits. So you just have to go to their demonstration area and sign up for that. So please be sure during your breaks to take advantage of that and go up and check it out.
I forgot to mention the choir.
That's right, I thought you were going to mention that. We also, as I hear my voice booming through the room, there is between the 2 columns here in the middle a quiet room set up for those who would like a break from noise, echo, and people. So you can just go in there and relax and take a break at any time. And I think that's the major things I have to say. If I talk about the fidgets, I'm going to tell people not to use them. You have spinner fidgets in your bag, the craze of the world, it seems, currently, and there is contradictory opinion and research as to whether they're beneficial for anybody for anything other than further distraction. But you now will have them in your bag and you can play with them and decide whether they are distracting or focusing and how helpful they are. And there's other things, you've got some books and you've got some other materials. And one of the books you have is this particular book. And it's employed on the autism spectrum by Michael John Carley, who is our opening keynote speaker. He will be kind enough to sign copies of your books if you would like to take advantage of that opportunity. And I believe he's going to be sitting here in the front during lunch. So you can interrupt his lunch and your lunch and come over and get them signed. And because these were purchased with the IMLS grant, the goal behind them for anybody here who is actually working for a library is that they are library copies of books as opposed to personal copies of books. So we ask that you keep that in mind. So as I mentioned, our opening speaker is